Welcome to All In Magazine, the publication doing things different. We are an in-depth story-sharing magazine with the truth of the matter at the heart of everything, always in all ways. A no-holds-barred, fully experiential space where you can read, watch and listen to some of the most authentic humans sharing their stories, dropping wisdom and cultivating a community you always want to be part of. Are you ready to go all in?
Are you ready to go all in, Sandra?
Oh, we're doing it today. We are doing it today.
Well, of course. I mean, come on. We got the great leopard skin outfit for all in. I mean, come on.
I
You're
know,
all
I
in.
know. Just for the record, I had a jacket on over this and it just wasn't working. And that's why you should always be ready with a backup for your clothes when you're going into any kind of media, because you never know how it's going to work with the colors of the background and whatever. So yes. So I said, hey, it's all in. So I can kind of go with the animal aspect of it. And our guest today is a mindset coach. Now, before you guys sign off going, oh, not another one of those.
This is totally different.
This is not your typical mindset coach that we are bringing on to you today. Oh, no. She is shall we just dive in and say what her background was?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay, so our guest is a former world famous dominatrix from East Europe, turned mindset coach in Rancho and rural America with opinions as bright as her hair. So this is going to be so exciting today, you guys. Rich is like, I never thought we would say that in an intro.
And have it be so cool.
Well, why not? That's fun, right? So she's blending the brutal truth, worldwide fire, and experience and combining the best of all worlds. So she is spirituality, mindset, and body, believing that freedom and more life is the key to the best adventure and life, which makes sense to me. By the way, she speaks 9 languages. Yes. There is not one language to pursue above all. The one is the one that works for the best, the one that works for the best life, and the mind is what's good for you. So she speaks 9 languages. Fantastic. So I
can barely speak one.
I think I stuttered a couple of times there too. So I don't know. Maybe I'm with you. I can barely get through the day, it seems. But I am super, super excited to be able to have her on. And can we please welcome Bára, aka Queen Bee Cerná.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being on All In. And again, your whole life is about being authentic and real. And I love the fact that you put out there right away, dominatrix. Many people are not going to talk about that, but you're keeping it out there. That's really cool.
Yeah, I think the moment we have skeletons, and I'm gonna just give a little like side note. So I was specialized in extreme psychological fetishes, and that looked like most of the time that I would blackmail people. Like that was my biggest income.
No, wait, psychological. You have to explain a little bit.
So within like the BDSM, it officially all started with like the physical contact, right? So like whips, punishment, physical contact, right? The classical dominatrix that you see. And as internet evolved and became changed the complete landscape, you still had the psychological tics of wanting to inflict pain or receive pain. But how do you do that when you don't have physical contact, right? So the internet landscape created these new psychological fetishes: financial domination, blackmail, humiliation, verbal humiliation, hacking into each other's system. Like that became the way that we could exchange power when not being physically present. So blackmail became one of my biggest ones, with a sideline of financial domination. They go hand in hand pretty much. But so that's a psychological aspect, right? Because you don't have the physical contact directly.
So these all things cascade and play together, you say, but how do you get out of that? Because that's not something you just walk up and change over and walk into a corporate job the next day. People are going to ask you, what have you done for the last 10 years of your life? So how did that transformation go?
Well, right. So I've been working on my own and for myself since age 18. I don't think I could ever go back to any version of I'm 37 right now, right? Like I don't think I could ever go back to working for a boss. And also if I would be very transparent about it, because being in that industry has taught me the deepest part of the human psyche. Like, right? Not
Yeah.
just what we're showing up with, but the actual deepest part of the psyche. And by the way, if I'm first of all, I woke up with a sore throat, and my English is my fourth language. So if I'm like stuttering or finding words, it's because I'm translating in my head.
Well, actually, you're fine because I stutter for a living, so you're absolutely fine. You talk better than I do sometimes.
Oh boy.
So that whole transformation, it had to be a big intentional shift to go from here to go for there. But in all the areas, there's a very authentic, raw nature that you've always dealt with, right? The human condition.
Yes, the human condition. And fortunately and unfortunately, the human condition isn't only what we want it to be, right? Like how we would like to present the human condition. If we would only like to have pleasant things, fun things, right? But that's not the way to success of any kind.
No.
And I do believe that we are here as humans to experience the whole spectrum of humanity, so the good and the bad, and it's up to our, let's call it, free will to navigate it and explore it as much to the better side as we can.
So you also have, as we get deeper in the layers now, you actually have what's called the soul mansion.
Yes.
It's just a brief little blurb I saw was it's the only identity shift you'll ever need, the soul mansion. All right, so what the heck does that really mean?
Okay, I'll start by just kind of like prefacing with how soul mansion came to exist.
Yeah.
I used to have when I was top in my career, I used to have a private massage therapist, and I would fly him in or I would fly to him, and he would do these like huge, like I will call them holistic massages, 3, 4, 5 hour longs. It's not, I'm like, don't hurt me. I'm like a fragile, like don't make my muscle twitch, but it's like these long movements. And you get into this almost meditative state. And I found myself, I used to always say that our soul is like a mansion and the body is the protector of the mansion, is the vessel, right?
Okay.
And we have all these like rooms within us, like the rooms that, the living room, everyone gets into the living room, right? Everyone sees the living room. And then you have kind of like the dirty drawers that we kind of like shove things away. Like, and then once a year you tell yourself, okay, I'll have to clean them, right?
Yep.
And that's kind of with characteristics and skills and personality traits as well. Like we have the living room, which everyone sees. And then we have the skills and the characteristics and the things that we kind of don't want people to see.
Yes.
But sometimes they come out and you're like, darn it, the closet piled out, right? So as I was going through this meditative state, I found myself in my soul mansion, and I found this room where I'm like this room needs some tending to. Like this is dirty. There's a lot of mess in here. And that's actually how it started. And again, this is 10 years ago. And I started exploring this with my inner circle, with my friends, and with the smaller teachings that I did back then. And everyone could find they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So the soul mansion grew to be this visual, a symbolic concept of the soul, the spirit, and all of the characters we have. And right now, the soul mansion has turned into a program where I walk them through the rooms, including stuff like the basement where you like locked away the bad parts of you.
Yes.
Because this is the thing. As long as we keep trying to hide certain things from us, it's like putting a ball underwater, trying to push it down, like it'll fly up, right? And it'll keep showing up in certain ways and patterns in our life. So, and it's the classical, like the higher you enlightenment, like how the higher your enlightenment go, the bigger the shadow, right? So the moment you go into the shadow and you work on the light part of you, you get a balanced soul mansion, and the patterns keep showing up.
So when you do this with people, do you put them through 5 hours of stuff right off the bat? I'm just curious.
So this is all this is kind of Joe. Do you know Joe Dispenza?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so this is like Joe Dispenza meets Pirates of the Caribbean, but oh yeah, I love him. And I used to do his meditations religiously every day, but he gets boring to me. I'm an active mind. And like, so I wanted more of my senses involved. So the meditations in of themselves are anywhere between 10 and 40 minutes. And then there's a whole theoretical part that explains like what happens when we immerse our whole body, right? When we smell, when we hear different layers of sounds, and we walk them with a certain intention through a room.
Yes.
So yeah.
Sounds like the rooster that just went off in the background that I have to point out, right? And so you emphasize, I want to go back, and then in your intro you said to Rancho and rural America. What's that connection to rural America and ranches? And
so I moved to America 2.5 years ago, and that was by accident. Like, I did not move here with intention. The world was closed, and Europe specifically. I had a house in Czech Republic. I had a house in the Netherlands, and Europe experienced a COVID lockdown on a level that most Americans cannot imagine. And I'm like, what kind of scam is this? Like, when I was born, the communists were leading, the officers were on the street. Then we had like 15 years of like okay life. Then the EU happened, and now the officers are outside again because of COVID. I'm like, this is a no for me.
Wow.
But I could only get to Mexico at that point. So I went to Mexico. I met with a bunch of my friends, and I used to have, like, I traveled the world, so I had a lot of American friends, and my American friends are like, you should come to America and just see it. I'm like, you know what? Okay. So
that's the freedom you talk about, right? You mentioned freedom. That's the freedom right there. You're living it.
And looking through that lens of Europe closing in, and me always been a big character. I was always too big for Europe. Like, everyone would say that. But I was never in the financial opportunity to, move to America and to go through the legal process. Because I'm very transparent about this. I'm $150,000 saving for a green card. Like, this is an expensive process to get here. Yeah, unless you get married or some stuff, right? Like, but the legal process as a non-married woman is quite expensive. So anyway, so I came to America, and I'm like, and I landed in Arizona first, and I'm like, this is freedom. Like, we have these rebellious people not doing masks. They're like, you don't touch me, you government, you cannot tell me shit. And so that's how my first like real taste of like rebellion and freedom showed itself up. And I've traveled to 48 countries. I've been around the world. Like, I know different cultures and how they, reflect themselves towards like authority or governments or whatever. So I was like, oh, this is it. So I landed in Arizona, and I made a post on my Facebook saying, now that I'm in America, what kind of things should I experience? Right. And people went like archery, guns, horses.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Right. So I was like, I'm going to do all these things. So I signed up with my local gun club. I went on to archery, and within 8 months, I was participating in the nationals in America here. And I signed up. I contacted all the ranches in my area, and only one ranch responded. So I started taking lessons there, and within 2 months, I was working there.
Wow.
And
the definition of all in. Can I just say the definition of all in?
I have no chill.
Yeah. Within a short period of time, she's gone to the nationals for archery. So,
and the cowboy life was the cowboy culture of showing up, not being too fragile to do the hard and dirty things. And there's a certain honor code. Like, like, I'm having goosebumps right now. Like, that's the epitome of freedom in America and what America was founded on to me.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I don't see that everywhere anymore. So for me, that was such a, like, it was almost a pull of the soul. Like, that's the direction I'm going in. And then I moved to Montana because the ranch went bankrupt.
Wow.
yeah, that was like painful. The ranch went bankrupt. So I'm like, what do I do right now? I'm not going to stay in Arizona. It's way too hot. People are not supposed to live here. I love it, but people are not supposed to live here.
Lizards and rattlesnakes can live there.
Right. Like I feel like Arizona people are like a big FU to God, we're living here.
Yes.
And again, I love Arizona, but I ended up moving to Montana and again wanted to really dive into the ranch culture, cowboy culture, and that's actually how it started. And right now I live in the middle of nowhere. No one knows where I live, by the way. I'm keeping that very very mysterious.
Yeah.
I live with my currently fiance. We have 65 acres in the middle of nowhere, no cell service, 2.5 hour each direction. There's no city. And we don't have any cows right now. We have pigs, we have 70 chickens, we have 5 dogs. We have a new puppy here. And the horses, I should have had new horses myself. But the horses should arrive again like after summer. So yeah.
Well, everyone take a breath. We're going to be right back. Bára is not done, or Red, as she likes to be called. Come on back. We're going to have more conversation on the All In Magazine show. Be right back. All On Magazine show live, and Sandra D. Robinson, my wonderful co-host, back again. The Trigger Rich Bontrager, and Bára, the Queen Bee, is with us today. And talk about amazing journey. I mean, from Arizona to Montana, I went from Minnesota to Georgia, so just about the same jump in reverse. But I'm also very interested about you said on your website, because you help people break free, you help people get to that place that you're at, to enjoy life, suck it all up. You're not stuck because you're lazy. You're stuck because your self-image hasn't caught up to your ambition. And then you say, I see you as a legend. How do people respond when you put the idea you're a legend? You just don't know it.
I think that what basically Soul mentioned, or my preface is that the essence of unlearning what we have learned during life, right? Because as a child, you have no limits. You can be Peter Pan, you can fly and be Superman, you can be a doctor, you're going to be a princess, you can
Captain
be
Kirk. Captain Kirk.
Right. Oh yeah, exactly. Right, you can be anything. And then you'll hear, whether societal or close by, no, that's not realistic, you're too loud.
No.
Quiet down a little bit, that's not how good girls behave. Right? Like, so we have all these ideas. No, you can't be that. You're too tall, small, short, fat, loud, too quiet, too shy, not shy enough. Right? So you have all these ideas, and we kind of take them on ourselves like an outfit, and we parade them around. And I'm just like, look, babe, your outfit, your legging should have been thrown away 3 years ago because the seams are jumping out. And your jacket doesn't make you look really good because it's a little too tight. So how about we undo those layers and start to explore what you actually are in its essence, you, without these layers that have been placed upon you.
Is it scary for people to go through that?
The scariness often doesn't come from, so it can be, because it's often associated with lone wolf syndrome, or you're going to have to say goodbye to everything. And shedding certain external factors often is to some extent the case. But we like our limitations.
Do we?
Like we go through, this is why I was a dominatrix, right? People paid me to be a limitation, right? People paid me to create boundaries.
So explain why we like our limitations. What do you mean?
There's a part of our lizard brain where limitations are predictable. And I used to have bearded dragons, and I used to have snakes and all these animals, and they would be in their own, they would have their own room. And one day I forgot to close the door, and the lizard went like to the hallway, and it went like it looked around and fastly came back.
Yeah.
Because there's a whole world out there.
Yeah.
So who are you if you don't operate from the limitations that you are currently wearing like an outfit?
Yes.
Right.
That's often because it's not only complete freedom isn't scary because of all the rewards it reaps. It's scary because of all the responsibility that carries with it.
So what are the biggest obstacles when you start changing their attire, going through the house and the mansion and exploring the basement? What's it like for them to start realizing that's really me, that's in me, but you want to flip the script? What's it like for them?
The it's often the hardest part seems to be that people have abandoned a certain part within themselves since young age, and you kind of have to retrieve that, right? So the big dreams, the big, it's usually like a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old within you, or like a 10-year-old, right?
Yeah.
And to build the confidence that you now as an adult are living in the current, you don't have the limitations that the inner child used to have, right? Because the inner child is dependent on external people.
Yeah.
You aren't that anymore. So building that confidence to kind of make yourself whole again, instead of having that separation, like that takes practice. It's not an overnight thing. And the scariest part can be where people regret, like, oh, I was the only thing that was in my own way. Like,
Is that
oh,
hard?
like, I
Yeah.
had all these ideas that it was his fault, it was her fault.
Yes.
Like my mom, my dad, it was the government, it was my teacher, it was the bully from elementary school. But they ended up living like rent free in your mind, and you started embodying them. Like, so that's what the soul mansion does, is like guide you through it. We're not going to focus on, the guilt or the shame. We're going to look it in the eye. And the only way to overcome the guilt of like, hey, this was all me, is by acting on it right now. That's the only way to overcome guilt, by not repeating it.
So I'm curious, it must be easy for you, given your background and what you're currently doing, to read people really well.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
And it's kind of like you probably can't help but read somebody when they walk into the room.
To my husband's detriment.
Yeah.
I love it.
You read him even better, right? Because he's there every day. You know all the nuances. But what is a tell from somebody if they come in the room and they are, let's say, faking being free? What are the tells?
There is and I would call it this probably like the spiritual side, because I'm a triple Capricorn, for whatever that means for a lot of people. Like, I'm very analytical, very calculative. And I still have to acknowledge that there's a part of us in this realm that we can't quantify directly, right?
Mhm.
So whenever someone walks in the room without even having said something, you can feel something, right? If a couple had an argument in the room and you walk in, like, you can feel something in the room, like, you can, like, oh,
Tangible.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
right.
tangible.
Like, there's a sensation.
Yes.
When it comes to people pretending to be free, like, you can mimic the behavior, but you cannot fake the energy.
Mm.
And it's kind of like, if you've ever gone to like the gym or a yoga class and the teacher told you, like, do this pose, and you did it, but you kind of slacked, like, you kind of like, you look like you're doing the pose, but there's a difference between, looking like doing the pose and actually having all the muscles tensed and you're suffering there. You can feel that. And usually it shows up between, like, in the difference where people have read or pretend to have walked the Mount Everest versus people who have walked the Mount Everest and have felt their lungs being on fire.
Yes.
And I don't know why, but you can feel embodiment. You can feel.
And do you find that, because Rich and I help people tell their stories all the time. And if they go deep enough and they release the story of Mount Everest, whatever that is for them, that's the most magnetic that people can be. Don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like do you think it's the most powerful place to manifest from, to build a life from that space where?
Absolutely. I think that we go after goals, even like going after things and achievements is even a process in and of itself, right? Because we're taught to chase money, to chase whatever happiness looks like, right?
Mhm.
And then I used to always chase wanting a big mansion, and then I had big mansion money, and I'm like, I cannot be bothered with a big house. Like, who's going to do the cleaning? And I know I can hire people. And if I forget my phone in the other room, no, I do not want a big house, right?
Yeah.
So finding what your goals are is an adventure. It's like a quest in and of itself, because you're unlearning, right? And where the purest essence of the magic and manifesting start is like, what do you think that goal will make you feel? Because that feeling is available for you right now. So I am chasing money because I think it will give me more bliss. I think it will give me a relaxed nervous system, that I could breathe wider, that I can have more options during the day, right? Like, it gives me some kind of, and for others, it would be security, meaning they don't have to look at their bank account. They can buy expensive food or quality food. Like, it'll look different for everyone, right? But those feelings are available for me right now.
So let's just say for a second, you had a chance to have a conversation that the universe would help you push out to everybody. The microphone is yours. The center stage of the universe is yours. What do you want people to know the most about finding this freedom that we're missing out on?
I'll start with the harsh truth. No one is coming to save you.
That's a
Which
military
is the good
phrase
news.
right there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's also the good news. No one's coming to save you. So it's all on you. And once you get through the kind of like, oh my God, it's all on me, you get through the, oh my God, it's all on me. Like, it becomes an empowering thing, right?
Yes.
Whatever goal you're chasing, dissect what the essence is, what the feeling is of that goal, of that achieved goal. Go do practice that right now. The whole world will change around you.
That's so true. So if you're looking for security and you think money is going to get you there, sit in the sense of security and how to make decisions about your finances and your work and your pricing if you're an entrepreneur from that place versus I need to from the outside sources.
Yes.
So good. Yeah.
What keeps people from going all in? Because again, going back to the beginning of all this, you went all in. But you had to get to a point of saying, I don't give a rip what other people say or think or do. What limits people from taking that step and stepping into that full potential?
I think that we have a inaccurate representation of what all in means, because we tend to associate that with very loud and rude people, for one. And you'll see, like, I am all in. I'm loud, but I'm not obnoxious. I am well versed. I am absolutely not rude. Manners are a very high value for me, right? I am aggressive in my loving in life. I'm never passive. I'm never violent, right? So when people think of all in, what does that actually look like? It's one of the unlearning, right? This is not what all in looks like. What does it look like for me? What would I be if I would just pause for a second? The idea where Linda bullied me in school and said that I need to hush, or that my nose is too big. Like, if I would just pause it, I can take it back. I could put the jacket back on later. But if I would just pause it for a second, like, what would that be like? And it's not, we expect that all in is this one-time decision, and then we have this range of energy available, but more so it's actually like a decision over and over again. And it's not only highs, but it's being able to carry the lows too, without them defining what you are, or the season of your life, or that you're failing, so you're a failure. No, we're holding the line, we're holding the tension, keep coming back. What does all in look for me right now? Yeah. And with physical fitness, that's a great example. Right now I'm at the end of 75 hard. I'm doing 2 workouts a day. My all in looks different after I've done leg day, because I can only crawl up the mountain, right? But I'm doing all in. But when my legs are recovered, like, I'm sprinting up that mountain. But both days I'm doing all in.
Wow.
What is
Bára, I'm
for
going
it?
to bring up your Instagram here. Oh, wait, let me get that off your face. That doesn't look good there. Right? Hang on for a second. There we go. There's the red hair we're talking about.
Look at
Red.
that.
So your Instagram is populated with all sorts of stuff. What can you tell us about what's going on, what's happening for you, and why'd you go check it out?
I am all about finding your inner freedom. As someone who has traveled the world, but now lives in very rural and ranch America, right? My freedom looks different. It's not the, Louboutins, the $6,000 shoes anymore, and the traveling, the jet set. I've done that, but check, double check. Now my freedom looks like waking up without an alarm system, actually enjoying doing the hard work. I love scooping horse poop. Like it.
Me too.
Super, yes.
Like
Like
my best therapy.
oh my gosh, can we talk about that? And cleaning the stables and doing the chicken coop and glorious, the best life. But we've been taught that freedom is, avoidance or of responsibility, of hardship. No. I get to go into the hardship. Let me suffer. Let me create some blisters. Yes. Here for it. So it's me and my wolf dogs and my animals. It's me and my nature most of the time, and my brain farts, right? Like, hey, I bumped into this one today. Let me share this one. Like, and here we go.
That's fantastic. That's so awesome. We have one last question for you. What is the most seductive thing that a person can ever master?
Oh.
See, we're good at this.
That's so good.
Look at that. We're making her think about this.
Yeah, that's really good.
We brought it all the way back around to the beginning. You like it?
Yes.
The most seductive thing?
Yeah.
It's not going to sound sexy, but probably discipline and grit.
Explain more. Tell us more.
When you are able to be disciplined and not be ruled and mastered by, current dopamines or just whatever your emotions or current feelings are, you have the world at your oyster, and you own the world. Like, that's the ultimate ownership. And that way you can also build yourself to whatever you feel is important, characteristic, skill-wise, aesthetic-wise. So if you think like, hey, I'm an extrovert and I want to talk to a lot of people, there's going to be days when you perhaps don't feel like it. But hey, if you have discipline, it'll become the new norm. And people who have extreme ownership are the sexiest out there. Are the sexiest out there. And life bends for them. And not discipline from a punitive way, not from because, a sky daddy is telling you, or else, but as the highest act of self-love and self-care. Because when you shine, when you radiate, you have endless to give.
Love that.
So good.
Bára, thanks for taking the time to be with us on All In Magazine. And you're also going to be a contributor with All In, right? You're going to share some more of this wisdom.
Oh,
Yes.
good. Yay.
Thank you so much.
So make sure you subscribe, follow, like it, and get more of this great, powerful stuff. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Sandra,
yeah,
that was great. I'm pumped.
Can you imagine, like, just sitting with her for a day? I feel like I could take on the world within like the first 3 hours. So
I think we should plan a trip to Montana to unknown locations and hang out and just.
We don't know for sure that that's
country,
where she is.
The rooster and everything.
We don't know that's for sure where she is, but I'll tell you what, I can see what a different approach she has to the, and I would say the issues that we all carry, right? We carry that stuff and it's so great to think of it as being something we put on. And so often there are so many heavy coats that we're wearing. That's all the stuff that we were told to not do, that we can't do, that we have our limitations and things that were fed to us. And I think it's just so great to be able to go, no, sit in what your all in is, sit in what that feels like. So the goal of making, like, a great example of the money.
Yeah.
Why? how's it going to make you feel? What's the purpose of getting the money? Is it security? Is it, is it attention? What, you can get it right now.
Well, I think for me, the biggest thing was I like the illustration of the soul mansion, of exploring the attic, the basement, the side little spot where the crumbs fell on the floor and you haven't cleaned it for 20 years. I love this idea of exploring the human condition that way, because you can picture it. You can literally talk about, we're going in here, we're going to sit down, and what do you find in the parlor versus the bedroom versus the backyard? I think it's a powerful illustration, and I think it's a great concept. So, wow, another great All In Magazine episode.
So good. So good.
Well, join us again next month. We'll be back once again with another great interview. And again, All In Magazine is bringing you great people from around the globe to help you move the line, open up, and go all in. That's Sandra D. Robinson. I'm Rich Bontrager. We'll be back again. See you then.